Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the handstand series. Today we're going to go over the full straddle handstand. Now last week we went over something called the half straddle, but today we're going over the full straddle. So what is the difference between these two positions? Well, it lies within the legs. So in the half straddle position, we keep a posterior pelvic tilt, squeezing the glutes, and we spread the legs, but the legs do not pike forward. They stay in that extended position, so the hips, knees, and ankles are all stacked on top of each other, but now we're just split. In the full straddle position, what we're going to do is what's called piking the hips. So we maintain that posterior pelvic tilt, squeezing the glutes, but now we're going to pike the hips down towards our body. This allows our legs to split wider and gives us an easier time to balance once we understand the position. Obviously, the more mobile you are, the easier this position is going to be because you're going to be able to split the legs wider, and this just comes with good time, good practice. Now the full straddle is a little bit more difficult than the half straddle because of that change in leg position, so I teach this one after you have gained good consistency in the half straddle position. Now what is the full straddle even good for? Why do we need it? If you want to learn to straddle press to handstand or shoulder press, you go through both the full straddle position and the half straddle position. If you want to learn to one-arm handstand or the progressions toward one-arm handstand, the full straddle position is the first position that people learn because this is the easiest one to balance. You have the biggest ability to balance if the legs are split nice and wide. If you go into the half straddle position in a one-arm handstand immediately, it's going to be extremely difficult to learn the one-arm handstand, more so than it is to learn the one-arm handstand, which is already extremely difficult. So having good consistency and good balance in the half straddle and full straddle will bring you to a really good level in your handstand journey. To begin, kick up into a straight body handstand and gain stability. Then open up into the half straddle position, gaining stability here. And finally, you're going to pike the hips forward, and this is our full straddle position. In the full straddle position, we want to maintain what's called posterior pelvic tilt. So I do not want an arch in the lower back. Now, if you have any mobility issues in the hips, your pelvis might switch anteriorly, allowing for an arch in the lower back. If this happens, just know you'll have to do some mobility work for the hips and the shoulders. In the full straddle position, actively pull apart the legs, point the toes, elevate the scapula, and grip the ground with the hands. Once you have finished your hold, bring the legs back together before you come down. In this video, you can see more clearly the action of the hands, the elevation of the scapula, and the rotation of the pelvis. We want to go from 10 up to 30-second holds in this position, if not even more in the later stages, but for now, 10 to 30 seconds. And we're going to follow that same thing that we did with the half straddle position. So you want to accumulate 60 seconds up to 2 minutes of total balance. So if you're starting with 10 seconds, I recommend 6 sets to get you to 60 seconds or a minute. And if you're going towards that 20-30 second mark, I recommend 4 to 5 sets to get closer to that 2-minute mark. So this was the full straddle position, a very important step in learning to do some more advanced, more intermediate skills in the handstand. Next week, we will be going over the tuck handstand. Remember, if you are a Patreon member with me at this time, you will receive this video 1 week early. So if you want to see the tuck handstand video today, become a Patreon member and you can see it on my Patreon page. Otherwise, I will see you next week with the tuck handstand.